This is Smallzy Surgery.
Amber Heard forever changed Mr. Depp's life and reputation.
Behind the fame, you're going to see who the real Johnny Depp is.
Hey, Jahan, thank you so much for jumping on the show. You're so world famous right now. I want to call you Netflix superstar. Also moonlights as a lawyer in his spare time.
You're far too kind. Thank you so much for having me.
Can I also say, if people don't know you, they may not recognize your voice, but when I say he has the best moustache in the business, he was the guy on TikTok that was given all the hot takes on the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, the Aussie guy with an insane moustache. That's you, and it is on point today. Thank you for dressing up for the occasion.
Look, I have difficulty accepting praise, but my mustache doesn't. So yeah. I accept on behalf of this glorious piece of facial hair.
Do you work that daily, or do you wake up like Beyonce said, wake up like that?
No. It's a pencil and wax.
Yeah, great.
There is a technique,
yes,
and it has been mastered over the last decade, and it brings me pride.
And so it should. I respect the work. I respect the craft. Hey, congratulations. You are right now the number one show on Netflix globally is the new Depp versus Amber Heard documentary. And I mean, the way they've made the show, if you haven't seen it yet, it obviously follows the trial, but then it also weaves in a lot of the social commentary that was going on across the court case. And you, sir, feature prominently.
It was a really weird experience. I didn't know that I was going to be on it, and so I was getting these phone calls from friends being like, "We saw you in that documentary. You were great." And I'm going, "What documentary? I don't know what you're talking about." And so it's been a crazy week with me sort of, all of a sudden, being invited to speak to you and people like you about a topic that happened a year ago and something that was a real cultural moment.
Absolutely. Hey, so break it down for us. Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, I think they used you I reckon, the first 10 minutes to nicely summarize why those two were suing each other in some backwater American country town. Can you give it to me again? Because you summed it up so nicely for people who maybe don't remember the complete ins and outs of it.
So the first thing that jumped out to me, because remember, I can only see the world through the lens of a lawyer, is why on earth are two Californian movie stars arguing about a piece written in the Washington Post having their case heard in Virginia? It just doesn't make sense, right? And it was a real piece of legal brilliance from Johnny Depp's team, because in Virginia, the servers and the computer tower that operates the Washington Post is held. And also in Virginia, and more importantly in Virginia, with the permission of the court, you can request for this to be televised. And so it was those two matters which I believe made Johnny Depp's team go and say, we want to argue this in Virginia. Now, arguing in Virginia had some tactical advantages for him. The biggest one being it would be televised, which, you win or lose. That could have hurt him. But the other one is that defamation lawsuits are easier to win there because there's different protections in state by state, and Virginia is a good state to sue for if you've been defamed.
Now, can we talk about the Johnny Depp? Obviously, you gave so many hot takes across the whole trial, but let's just break it down. Johnny Depp suing Amber Heard for damaging his character, for allegations that he say didn't happen. I think everybody thinks Johnny Depp was crazy. I guess my question is, do you think Johnny knew? And his strategy was, people already don't like me and I'm not going to win people over, but at least if I can have this court case, maybe I can show the other side of the case that maybe the public wasn't aware of, particularly Amber pooing in the bed. That's really what I wanted to talk about.
Remember, that was denied vigorously. The defecation in the bed was denied vigorously.
It was the dog. It was the dog.
Yeah, it was the teacup Yorkie that left a surprisingly large gift. I think the way you've got to think about this is that from Johnny's perspective, he sued unsuccessfully in the United Kingdom, and he felt he hadn't shared his story. This was always a public relations strategy wrapped up as a lawsuit. And the reality was, he was already persona non grata in Hollywood. He thought, why not roll the dice, in my opinion, why not roll the dice and see what I can do? Now, freedom of speech laws in the United States are sacrosanct. They're very hard to overcome, particularly in defamation matters. And so the rolling of the dice for him was, I want the opportunity to share my story. Because if you hear my side of the story, you may very well see that it wasn't as it played out in the court. And I think that's what he did.
Yeah. Obviously, we all know that Amber went on to lose that case. Johnny as a lawyer. I guess as a lawyer, you probably go, well, the jury can only get it right, in terms of what they come down as their verdict. But as a Australian lawyer, did you see it playing out like that? It's a very different legal system, I guess, here than what they have in the United States.
Well, if I could clarify on just one point that you've said, remember, Johnny was successful in suing Amber and proving she defamed him, but Amber was also successful in proving that she was defamed by Johnny and his representatives. And it's just because marginally the total that he was awarded was substantially more that we say that he won. But the court found both of them have defamed one another. I guess from my perspective, litigation is very similar all over the world. I don't know the ins and outs. I don't know the ins and outs of American legal practice, but you can start to see things happening. And so for me, in a defamation matter, and I've run a few, they're usually very dry and quite boring. This one was not. You started to see that credibility is everything. And one of the things that really came to the forefront was how well Mr. Depp was perceived in the box versus how Miss Heard was perceived, and particularly how effective the cross-examination against her was. To the point when that examination was done, I said, I really think Mr. Depp has a chance to win this. So I predicted it. I'm not an oracle. No. I could be very, very much wrong.
Just a very good lawyer.
I saw it coming.
Just a very good lawyer.
Yeah. If you know what you're looking for, you can see the patterns. Yeah. And so this is going to be the start of, in my opinion, a new style of litigation where A-listers go at it in the courts. Okay. And it's really going to be playing out simultaneously in social media. It was the trial by TikTok. It was the first trial of its type.
That's wild. Now, I have to ask, how much has your life changed? Obviously, you did blow up on TikTok for your hot takes on the court case. Do you have people sliding into your DMs asking for legal advice now? Do they know? Yes?
Every day, and it's a pleasure to help them and direct them if I can. Sure. I mean, it's very endearing when people contact you from like Canada or like, the USA or, a Caribbean nation saying, I saw you and I think you're great. Can you help me? And I go, I don't know how to appear in the local court of Kingston in Jamaica to assist you, but how nice is that you think of me that way? It's been a real, social media is just word of mouth on steroids. Yeah. And it's been really helpful for me because it's given an opportunity for people to get to know me. And for me, a big part of it is I want people to understand the law, because for many people, the law is this scary thing. You think of these old people with bookshelves behind them yelling at you, and it shouldn't be that way. It's a system which is beautiful and brilliant, and it interferes with and affects every part of our life. And so if you can understand that, which is what I'm trying to do as an educator, you really feel empowered, and that's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to empower people. I'm not team Johnny or team Amber. I'm team justice. I want you to understand how the system works.
Yeah. Now, I appreciate your time because you're a busy man. You're always suing someone or protecting someone from being sued. Now, question, just for anyone listening tonight who maybe would find themselves in a situation where they maybe pooed in their ex's bed, would you advise settle outside of court, defend the charge vigorously? What would your advice be to someone like in that situation?
After a decade in the law, the answer is always, it depends.
Okay.
It really depends. So there is there's no template to the pooing in someone's bed situation. It's not something that you did. It's happened. Believe you me, in my practice, I've had cases like that happen. But it always depends on the situation. And if you ever find yourself overwhelmed, and this is what I really want to get through, you're not alone. Lawyers deal with things, and we do it in a non-judgmental way. The person who judges the judge. Our job is to help. And so if you ever feel overwhelmed, if you ever feel like something's unsolvable, it's not. Okay. Someone somewhere who can help you, and reach out.
Okay, and now one final question. If I knew a somewhat prominent sort of radio host who had a couple of parking fines that just kind of just snowballed and needed help just to get out, you know anyone that could help me out with that person out with that by any chance?
A prominent radio host in that kind of situation would have no difficulty getting a referral from me to someone who could assist them.
Do you reckon?
Quite frankly, he would deny the allegations.
Oh, deny. Okay, deny the Okay, great. And then
don't deny. It depends. It depends. It depends.
Okay, well, you're giving me too much. I don't even know where to start.
It depends.
Hey, sir, congratulations on your newfound stardom on Netflix. It's already very prominent on TikTok, as I said. Congratulations that your moustache is now reaching a wider audience and that you can impart your wisdom and skill set onto the rest of the world. Enjoy this moment. Thank you for your time, bro. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
And I just called a lawyer a bro, and I didn't even mean to do that. Thank you very much.
We are bros.
Thank you,
Good
sir.
to see you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Smallsy.
Smallsy Surgery
is a Nova podcast. For more great shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.